Welcome to this presentation. Uh, I will be speaking about the Jyotish of lighting the diya on the 5th of April at 9 pm for 9 minutes, the fight against coronavirus. Um, as per the appeal by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. The hashtags are India against Corona as well as India defeats Corona. Now, let me clarify a few things before we begin. This presentation is based on uh, Parashari Jyotish or classical Indian or Hindu Jyotish, uh, wherein we believe that the planets influence the lives of people and also are causative in terms of whatever happens to human beings, including well being issues, health, disease, work, life, all that. Having said that, let me also say that I am a medical doctor. I am a medical allopathic doctor, and I completely and totally believe that modern medicine is the only curative uh, and reliable method to finally exterminate the coronavirus. So, anything else should be only construed as a support system or as a different way of understanding the same phenomenon. Uh, Jyotish is a Vedanga. It has been described as the eye of the Vedas. Vedas have been have are considered to be uh, Ananta Apaurushaya. So they have been timeless. We don't know when they started. We don't know who has written the Vedas. They have been written perhaps and most certainly by rishis, who and they are a treasure house of knowledge, most of which we still do not understand properly. So the idea is that such research in the future might help us to understand the human condition much better. There is a small disclaimer about this before we begin the presentation. The same thing what I just said, you know, um, kindly take the first point is that COVID-19 is a life-threatening viral infection and which can be treated by modern medicine. Uh, as I said, I completely, fully subscribe to this view. Being a medical allopathic doctor myself, and this is an educational exploration based on Parashari Jyotish, basically, and no other methodology has proven efficacy against coronavirus. Right. So with this, I would like to start my talk now. Uh, the the audience for this talk ideally is somebody who understands Jyotish to some extent. This is not for the absolute layperson who has no understanding of how Jyotish works, because I'll be showing the chart of 5th April 9 p.m. at New Delhi. Okay, so basically, this is the Muhurta as we call it in Jyotish. Um, New Delhi is where is the seat of the Indian government, and 9 p.m. is the time. So exactly at 9 p.m. on 5th of April, the chart at that time will give us a lot of idea about what exactly is being intended, perhaps by uh, by the government, and how lighting a diya could perhaps help in some manner, uh, to from the Jyotish perspective. Okay, so with this, what I want to do now is I want to straight away go to the chart. So if you look at my at this slide which is in front of you, now this is a slide of 5th April 9 p.m. New Delhi. Okay, and now quickly there is the Lagna Kundali in the big, which is the big thing you see, which is the one you see here, the cursor, where my cursor is. This is what we call as D1 or the Lagna Kundali. This here is the Navamsh Kundali, D9 at that point of time. what is the Navaunsh, because we want to study the planets in detail. The efficacy, we'll have to look at this. At this time, what is the Dasha, the Vimshottari Dasha, you can see here. And then below you see the planets and in which nakshatras they are, and so on and so forth. So with this background, now let me start discussing this particular kundali, and let us see what exactly is the secret of lighting a diya at 9 p.m. today. Now, the lagna, when we study the kundali, we look at the lagna first. Let's look at the ascendant. The ascendant is Libra, lord of which is Venus. Now, Venus is in the 8th house. Not a very good placement as a 8th house as it goes, but it is in its own Rashi in Taurus, and it is in the nakshatra of Kritika. Now, Kritika nakshatra, the nakshatra lord is Sun, and the nakshatra devata is Agni. So we are looking at Agni here. We are looking at lighting a lamp, lighting a diya. The Lagnesh is basically in the nakshatra of the Sun. Correct? Sun again represents the fire element or the Agni Tattva. Correct? So this is first aspect. The second thing I want to quickly draw your attention to is the moon. Now the moon is like the mind of the chart in a way, Now the moon here is in which Rashi? You can see the moon is in the 11th house in the Rashi of the Sun. It is in Leo. Okay, Leo is again, or Siha Rashi. Siha is basically ruled by the Sun, and it is in the nakshatra of Purva Falguni, which is basically a Venus nakshatra. So moon is in the Venus nakshatra, Venus is in the Sun's nakshatra. So you see the connection between the moon and the Venus. So they are friends also. They are Naisargik Mitra, or Mitra Graha. So they are friends. So to that extent, again you see the Agni Tattva connection here between for Venus as well as for moon. The third thing here is, we looked at the ascendant, we looked at the moon, now we look at the sun. The sun, moon and the ascendant are considered to be the trinity. Okay, it's like the body, mind and the soul, you can say, of the chart. Now the sun here is in the 6th house. Now 6th house is what is called as the Aristhana or the Ripusthana or the Rogasthana. It is a malefic, considered to be a malefic planet. It is in the 6th house. It's a very good placement for the sun. Sun has got the Tej, it has the Agni Tattva. So it is considered to be a malefic in traditional Jyotish. A malefic in the 6th house usually will do very well because it is considered to be the Upachaya house. The Upachaya house being a house where things will improve, and Sun has been given the status of Dhanvantari. Sun is the Dhanvantari of sorts. So therefore you find that the Sun in the 6th house is good. It is like using the Agni Tattva to clean out the enemy. The enemy is in the 6th house. The enemy as in the roga, the disease. Sun is again here, if you notice, it is in the nakshatra Revati. Revati is a nakshatra of Mercury. Mercury is the nakshatra Swami or the nakshatra Lord. And the nakshatra Devata is Pushan. Now what does Pushan mean? Pushan is that which nourishes. So that which heals and which nourishes both. So that's the explanation of the sun here. Again you see the connection of the Agni Tattva here. Now who else is healing? Who is the healer? So another Karaka for healing is considered to be Jupiter. Okay. So Jupiter here, if you notice, is in the 4th house. Now the 4th house is also the house where you have the Saturn and the Mars there. Okay. That also indicates the fact that we have this the coronavirus problem, which is actually affecting us at home where we are, within where we are located. And then we have the Jupiter there. The Jupiter of course is a protective influence it will be there. It will be there in Capricorn till 30th of June. So by which time I think this whole epidemic should be um, to a great extent alleviated. Now Jupiter is in Uttarashada. If you see, now Uttarashada is the nakshatra of the sun. So you have Jupiter in the nakshatra of the sun, who is the Dhanvantari in the sense, or the healer. Okay, so this is a very interesting thing to notice. Okay, so this is what typically this chart is all about. Now I want to just go to the Navaus chart, the D9 chart, which is on the side, just to get some more support for what I have spoken. Now, as we said, we are speaking mainly of the Agni Tattva. Agni Tattva here being the sun. The sun here is in the 10th house along with Jupiter. Okay, the 10th house is the place where sun gets positional leadership or positional strength. Okay, so that's great again. So you have the sun and the Jupiter both concerned with healing in the 10th house. 10th house is the karma sthana, so that augurs well for this chart. And again you have Venus in the 12th house, but it is in exaltation. Venus is in the mean Rashi, which is the exaltation. Venus in exaltation in the 12th house is considered good. Okay, so that also shows the strength of the time. The 9 p.m. on 5th of April at New Delhi, with the Libra ascendant, with Venus as the lord of the ascendant, is strong, which means whatever we are planning, those intentions will are likely to be fulfilled. Okay. One more last thing before I wind up here. You notice here the Rahu Ketu axis in the Lagna Kundali. It is going from the third house and the ninth house. Now Ketu in the third house is actually quite good, in a sense that it um, the third house is considered to be the mirror house of the eighth house. So it is also concerned with, in a sense, with disease. Ketu in the third house, Ketu is a malefic. Again, third house is the Upacha house. So Ketu will do well, and it will actually play some role in alleviation of the disease, because it is directly counteracting the influence of Rahu on the other side. Also, Ketu is in the nakshatra of Mool nakshatra, its own nakshatra. So we are harnessing in a way the destructive effects of Ketu, but in a positive way, because it is placed in the third house in the Mool nakshatra. Mool nakshatra, as you know, nakshatra devata is Nirti, the dark goddess, and nakshatra Swami is again Ketu. Of course, Rahu is in Ardra, which is in its own nakshatra, and therefore it is certainly creating some problem with respect to the coronavirus. So this is my brief explanation of the Jyotish of lighting a diya. Let me congratulate the government of India for this very innovative approach. It will also unify the people of this country in a common resolve to fight the coronavirus, and it will also support and acknowledge the efforts of the millions of healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, who are actually putting their lives in danger and helping the country to tide over this crisis. And finally, um, the Jyotish also could play a supportive role. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye.